Okay, well, good day, everyone. Welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started. Today's webinar, sponsored by Huawei and our partner NetFast, is going to be on the subject of eLTE, which is a great broadbanding service that we're using and delivering through many partners and customers around the world. A couple pieces of housekeeping before we get started. First of all, as always, we really encourage you to ask questions throughout the webinar. On your GoToWebinar panel, there's a questions area. Please type your questions in. We will try to answer those in real time as much as we can, and we'll also aggregate some of the really great questions and ask those at the end as well and have a Q&A section at the very end. In addition, we're going to have some polling questions throughout the presentation. So when we do that, we encourage you to respond, and we'll certainly share the polling results with you in real time so you can see what your peers are thinking about the various questions that we're asking. Also, as always, this webinar is being recorded and will be made available on the Huawei Enterprise USA website shortly after the completion of the webinar. So if you want to see a recorded version, you'll be able to get it off the website. And then finally, as always, we are providing everyone in attendance with a Starbucks gift card. We appreciate your time very much. We know your time is valuable, so enjoy a cup of coffee on us. We have two speakers today. The first will be Sajid Haq from NetFast, who's going to give us a bit of an overview of their company and also what they're doing specifically with the Huawei eLTE solution. And then next, Rick Q from Huawei's marketing department will go into some of the details in the solution. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Sajid.
Thanks, Stuart. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this lunch and learn about eLTE with our partners Huawei. For those of you that know us already, the next few slides will be a refresher. And for those of you that will be hopefully working with us in the near future, I'll keep this short and sweet and provide you a quick overview of our capabilities prior to passing the mic to the Huawei team. Next slide. So we were originally founded in '95 as a systems integration company, and we were designed to originally provide services to carriers and service providers worldwide. Since then, we've migrated into a model that can provide pretty much the full gambit of networking and data center solutions to the commercial, mid-market, and enterprise spaces. We're headquartered here in New York City. We've got multiple locations throughout the U.S. and various select commercial zones across the world, that being UK, the Middle East, India, and etc. The services we provide include full architectural design, deployment, and post-managed support of all networking data center related projects. Our strength as a systems integration company is really providing end-to-end networking and data center solutions. And we do this by using a strategic, multi-vendor, cost-effective approach. Our engineering teams have had years of extensive integration expertise across multiple platforms and OEM solution sets. And our high-level partnerships, alongside our global reach, really allow us to provide to our clients very low-cost, high-performance solutions. Next slide. Actually, one thing I wanted to mention, I see there in the customer profile section on the previous slide, a company called Tejon Ranch. As we're speaking about eLTE, this is a client that has about 270 to 280,000 acres of land, of rural area land. And we're actually in discussions with Huawei and our clients now to talk about some really high-end eLTE/microwave solutions we'll be speaking about in our later slides. As far as this slide, our services include basic networking, as we mentioned, to routing, switching, to the more complex multi-tenant infrastructure deployments. That being said, everything from SAN, storage, virtualization, cloud collaboration, wireless LAN mobility solutions, BOIOD, disaster recovery, big data, so on and so forth. Next slide. This slide just gives you a quick overview of the subsets I just mentioned. When you're talking to data center virtualization, it's potentially a huge cost savings for those that migrate, whether it's servers, desktops, or the entire network itself. We deal extensively here with VMware, Citrix, and Hyper-V solutions. WAN optimization, faster performance, faster access of your applications, and critical data lead to more revenue, of course. If you have a multi-tenant environment, for example, and on multiple locations, your users probably have experienced latency, lag, perhaps loss of critical data. We have physical, on-prem, and virtual solutions that help you optimize such environments. Collaboration solutions, that's everything from unified communications, IP systems, call center, IP surveillance, cloud, hosted UC solutions. We've got very select high-level partnerships in that hemisphere as well, which we'll talk about on the next slide. Secure wireless solutions, enterprise mobility solutions. We really specialize in the deployment of controller-based internal-external mesh solutions, large campus environments, everything from your mobile strategy, MDM, BYOD. So you jump to the next slide already, so we can talk here as well. But this gives you an idea of our high-level partnerships. We've developed very strategic partnerships with Huawei, of course, Silver Peak, Avaya, Alcatel, Arista, and the list goes on and on. And I encourage you to talk to us as we proceed about the integration of such suites and services. We can talk to you about the full architecture and design. Next slide. This slide gives you a quick overview of our partners. A handful of these partners we're already in discussions with or have deployed LTE such solutions. And as you can see, it's everything from upper mid-market to enterprise and in a various range of verticals. Next slide. So in terms of our partnership with Huawei, we do everything from communications solutions to networking data center to, of course, LTE and eLTE. And we partner together to provide true LTE solution to a wide range of industries. And this is everything from transportation to government, smart grid utility companies, energy, and education. And truly these eLTE solutions have allowed our customers to flexibly optimize their data transfer across very long distances at very high speeds. And our clients have been able to use these solutions to really boost their profits, improve their efficiency, enhance their customer service, and of course maintain competitiveness in their verticals and environments. Again, thank you. If you have any questions, please do let us know. Our contact information is listed here below, so feel free to reach out.
Okay, well, I hope you in the audience liked our sound effects. We're talking about eLTE, which is often used by emergency services, so we have some sound effects in the background there just to kind of keep you on track. Right now we're going to launch our first poll, and that really is trying to figure out what vertical market you are in. So do us a favor and select one of those vertical markets if that describes where your company is situated. Obviously, if it's not one of the four that we have there, list other. But please go ahead and make a selection. One of the things you'll notice about eLTE is it does have some very interesting vertical integration based on the fact that it's supporting things like remote area coverage or schools and things like that. So we're going to go ahead and give you guys just another few seconds to vote here, and then we'll show you the results. All right, so let's take a look. So it looks like about a quarter of you are in the education market, a little over 10% in healthcare, just a handful in manufacturing, and quite a few are in other. But hopefully that gives us a pretty good overview of who's in the audience here. So with that, we're going to go ahead and transition now from Sazid, which, by the way, thank you very much, Sazid, for that overview. And now we are going to transition over to Rick Q from Huawei, who's going to go ahead and take over from this point.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rick Q with Huawei Enterprise Marketing. So today we're talking about Huawei's eLTE professional wireless solution. So keep an eye on the time. I'm going to dive right in. First section, we're just going to talk about some of the challenges and trends of the professional wireless network. So some of you have, been following, the technology trend. I don't know if many of you have worked in professional wireless before, worked with terrestrial radios or WiMAX. You know that a lot of these standards have been used, but we're finally seeing a trend in the industry where things are converging to LTE standard, and that just makes things a lot better because it's fast, it's low latency. There's many data points to support that LTE really is the clear choice in all of this. Plus, WiMAX really has no future at this point. There is still some, WiMAX systems obviously out there, and of course, there's the Wi-Fi. But LTE is really where everything is converging to, and our solution really supports both, this standard and other standards. Keeping in mind that Huawei, is an open standards platform. So, so that talks about LTE, and here just to cover what's the difference between private networks and the carrier networks. Carrier networks traditionally have been, dictated by the 3G consortium. So, where things have evolved from, GSM and CDMA to LTE. And the private network side, a lot of technology has remained relatively unchanged, just from the analog trunking of the 90s to, just more of the voice and data trunking and the narrowband. But now, finally, we have a solution. We're really the first to introduce a complete professional wireless solution that has broadband trunking, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So what makes LTE technology the clear choice for professional wireless? Well, the performance for one. There's many data points that we have to support. Both in the high speed bandwidth as well as distance, and being able to provide high reliability. And of course, there's the existing networks that's out there. So with eLTE, we found that in various field tests compared to WiMAX, LTE has just had better range, better wall penetration, does better in cities, whereas WiMAX tends to do better in the rural areas. But LTE is just better all the way around, and having multiple frequency bands, so less interference and more flexibility in how you want to deploy your LTE network. And then there's the preemptive calling. The response times are just so much faster. So in the cases of emergency response or high demand scenarios, the eLTE solution has better response time for the push-to-talk function, which is the call preemption, and setting up groups, establishing your preset groups and configurations, and opening up the lines for everyone in the group. It's just much faster. And the ability to set up virtually an unlimited number of users on groups and being able to support more users per cell. And then, of course, the all-in-one network. In one solution, being able to support voice, video, and data seamlessly. So another point I just want to make is if you have a BYOD strategy, the solution also helps to bridge that, because you're investing more in an LTE technology and have better choices in terms of the devices that will be out there. So that kind of gives you a quick overview, and I guess it's time for the second polling question.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rick. So now that Rick's kind of introduced LTE a little bit, what we want to find out is what are the most important features for you from an LTE solution. And this one you can select all that apply, so you can pick multiple different choices here. Is it really the performance and the speed you're looking for? Is it the coverage area? Are you looking for that rapid emergency response that Rick talked about? Or is it the fact that it's the all-in-one voice, data, and video? So go ahead and select any of these that you think apply to your requirements for eLTE, and then we will show you the results. Rick, I did want to ask you, I think we're giving away a $10 Starbucks gift card. Can you still get a cup of coffee for $10 at Starbucks, or are we still in there with that?
Yeah, and depending on what you get, you can't get their extra premium triple shot caramel macchiato, but I'm sure you can get a coffee there.
Okay, good. Maybe a drip still available. All right, we're going to go ahead and close the poll out now, and then we'll share the results. And as you can see, a definite strong indication that high-speed coverage and performance is very important for 3/4 of you. About a third need the distance coverage and the rapid response, about 20%, and almost 2/3 really want the all-in-one. So definitely a broad set of requirements, which is helpful for us as we go through the rest of the presentation. So Rick, back over to you.
Great. Love to see those answers, actually, because that really sets up my next few slides nicely. So Huawei was the first to introduce professional broadband trunking solution, and at a high speed. So 100 megabits of broadband trunking for video dispatch, and integrating professional voice dispatch, and having an open and convergent network architecture, which I'll cover a little bit more. So performance, we're looking at 100 megabit downlink, 50 megabit uplink consistently. That's really the industry standard for high-speed coverage, and to be able to cover long distances. So, and then depending on the area, obviously, we have a data sheet that we talk about more about, depending on the location, how far, of coverage it is, but generally you're looking at about 10-mile radius, depending on your area. And then being flexible. So part of the product solution that we have, our core network, which I'll introduce a little bit later, here is the ability to fully customize and select from multiple frequency bands, a lot of bands that you didn't have access to with WiMAX, and part of what makes this solution great, and being able to be highly resistant in harsh environments. We have a full suite of devices as well as radio units that are designed to handle the toughest outdoor environments. So that's kind of a high level of the Huawei eLTE solution. We have an end-to-end product family, which I'll talk about later. So performance is what you're interested in. There are many tests out there. This is from a third party that have done tests of LTE versus WiMAX, and just across the board, LTE is just very dominant. As I mentioned, in terms of the coverage area, being able to penetrate buildings and walls. This is a known issue with WiMAX, and traditional Wi-Fi is not being able to penetrate concrete walls and big buildings. LTE definitely has more coverage because you have more of those frequencies available to you, and the technology itself is just made to handle the outdoors and as well as the urban areas. So just to reiterate, Huawei is a strong believer in open standards, and we have led the charge in having a platform that's built on open standards so that our solutions integrate well and are highly interoperable with the other solutions that are out there. And that's just something that we continue to believe in. At the same time, we also offer a full suite of products. So, I mean, one way to look at it is that we could be your one-stop shop for everything you need in terms of deploying an LTE solution. Not many other vendors can say that. But on the other hand, another good thing to point is if you are using another vendor, most likely they have gaps, and Huawei can fill most of those gaps because of the breadth of the solutions that we offer and the fact that it is open and convergent. So without further ado, we'll introduce the product family, which is probably what most of you are here to see. So we, as I mentioned, end-to-end, everything from the chipsets that we design or purchase from other vendors to the endpoint devices, handsets, and the radio and baseband units, to the core network itself and the applications. There's the energy component of it, but that for the U.S. market, we're not talking about that today. But I just wanted to put that up there so you can see. But that would be the only products that are not available in the U.S. market at this time. So for your small medium networks, we have the ESN 230. So this is a 2U core network that is designed to handle up to 4,000 subscribers and 20 nodes, and has all of the functions that I had described. And this is easy to deploy, ready to go, and it's very cost effective. And I think that the main thing about this is that because it's a small, compact core, it's fast setup, and it can be literally deployed anywhere. And it travels, it's mobile, and it's ready to go. In fact, it comes in one of the flavors that we have is just a ruggedized case, and it can go out into the field at a moment's notice. For your larger networks that require more customization and being able to support up to 200,000 subscribers, and essentially is unlimited based on how you want to scale this thing out. But this is the 600 and 210 series that has full customization, both licensed as well as unlicensed frequency bands available. It's designed to support, as it is, 200,000 subscribers, users. But as I mentioned, it can go much higher than that. But this will be a 14U cabinet solution. So for your baseband units, we have the BBU and the remote radio units, or RRUs. So these are your outdoor units for the radios, and this can be installed on on rooftops, on towers, on buildings, and various locations. And we have data sheets available for anyone that wants to get these at the end of the webinar. Let us know, and we can send you the details, and you can see all the specs for these. And then devices for every application. So, for our industry clients, those who are more in manufacturing or need more of a rugged solution, we have our EP series, which are designed to your specific industry needs. So based on what your requirements are, we have units that are, as you can see there, that are completely water and dust proof. So I mean, you can drop it in a bathtub. You can you can kick it around. It's shock absorbent. It has all those features that make it great, and has the full customization that you want. And then we also have the Android-based unit. So for your smartphone users that just need to have their Android app available, we have that as well. And then you can see there we have the wireless access points. So these are essentially act as a LTE hotspot. So you can it has a LTE data access, but it also broadcasts Wi-Fi service. And then our dispatching unit. So this for the those that are looking for a complete, ready-to-deploy, easy to use, fully functional dispatching unit. The EMDS is the one that's available and can instantly set up call groups, direct videos, broadcasts, push-to-talk function, and full dispatching control. So anyone that wants to see a demo of the dispatching unit, reach out to us as well, and we can certainly do a demo for you so you can see how that works. Okay, so I think this is a good stopping point for the third polling question. Nick?
Rick, thank you very much. That was an excellent overview. Our final polling question for today is just trying to get a feel for your time frame for implementation of an eLTE solution. So if you're a partner on the line, when do you think one of your customers might want to deploy one of these? If you're a user, when do you think you'd have a need to deploy this kind of solution? So we're just trying to get a sense of how close the need is for this type of solution. Rick, by the way, I need you to set me up with one of those shock-proof, waterproof handset devices. That sounds exactly like the kind of thing I need, so that's excellent.
Yeah, military spec, right, is what you're looking for? Got it. Yeah.
That's right, that's right. Okay, great. We're going to give everybody about another 5 seconds to get their final vote in, and then we'll share the results. All right, let's go ahead and share it, and you can see that a handful of you, almost a little over half, are really more than a year out, more than 2 years out. But the other half, close to the other half, is somewhere either they're already doing it, which is a small percentage, or within the next year they're going to be doing it. So this thing is coming. It's real. The solutions are proven, and it's good to see people's implementation time frame is more near term. So with that, Rick, I'm going to turn it back over to you, and you can take us home.
All right. So we have a lot of successful cases around the world. I mean, Huawei is the largest implementer of LTE in the world. We are actually #1 in terms of LTE deployment. So we know this stuff, and we use one customer I just want to point out is Norway. I think they recently deployed one of our base units, and they're getting coverage area of 37 kilometers, which is pretty great. And so they have a wide coverage area. I mean, granted, it's out in the ocean, so less obstructions. But just so what you can see what it can do when there are no obstructions, like tall buildings and mountains and things like that. So well ahead of WiMAX coverage. One of the ports in China, very busy port, has a lot of interference potentially. WiMAX will never work here just because of the level of interference, but LTE being, having the multiple frequency bands available and the anti-interference capabilities does well in this is one of the busiest ports in the world. High speed, our LTE solutions have been deployed around, maglev trains that are going over 400 kilometers an hour. So the handoff from one cell to the next has been smooth and proven, so you don't have that issue. And that's another thing about LTE. If you have a BYOD strategy down the road, I see some of you are probably thinking that based on your answers, 1 to 2 years you're thinking about deploying this. So if you have that BYOD strategy, LTE is the way to go. You're going to have a lot of devices I mentioned that are on LTE, and you're going to be able to integrate those devices in your network, and not having that layer of going from LTE to non-LTE. You can definitely increase the response time and reduce the load on your network. And then, as I mentioned, I think in one test with a customer in Greece, they were able to go over 100 kilometers range. But of course, they have a tower set up, and it was designed to go 100 kilometers and get 100 megabits of downlink, which is incredible. And also more locally here, we have one of the Texas Independent School Districts. We're their WLAN supplier, as well as they're in the process of deploying an eLTE solution to get all of the schools in the district wired up. So they're looking to deploy a private LTE network. So before I dive into the promotions, just want to summarize everything. If you guys have any questions now, start thinking about asking questions for us. But basically, I think to kind of recap, LTE is really the technology that's moving forward here. I think that is going to be able to deploy mobile professional wireless in the future, and Huawei is really the clear best choice in all of this in terms of the value. We're the first to have a complete solution, an end-to-end solution. No other supplier out there really does this, and we have the results, and it's why we are the #1 supplier of LTE in the world. So promotions.
Yeah. So just real quick, this is Stuart Shervin. I'm the marketing manager here for channels, and I want to thank everybody for their attendance today, but I wanted to throw out a couple of things. In addition to the wonderful eLTE product that Rick was talking about, we do have some current promotions that are in play, as you can see here around both our 5300 and our 2700 switch. Some very aggressive pricing that is available between now and the end of the year. We also have a special promotion on our S2600T controller. And then for those of you that are interested in video conferencing, one of our basic video conferencing units, which is the very, very powerful TE30, as you can see there, is available at a very attractive price, delivering 1080p for your video conferencing needs. And it's a very, very simple setup, about a 5 to 10 minute setup. So video conferencing at both an affordable price and a very, very simple implementation. In addition to that, we also have a promotion here on our top-of-rack switches. So three different bundle options on our very, very exciting Cloud Engine top-of-rack switches. So you can see a great performance for the price here, as well as fantastic data center ready products here. So 3 different bundles, 3 different prices, all available through the end of the year, all available through our partner, NetFast. So make sure that if you have interest in any of these promotions, that you work through our folks here at NetFast to make sure that you take advantage of these great prices before the end of the year. And with that, I'd like to turn it back over to Nick for our question and answer portion of today's presentation.
Great. Thank you very much, Stuart. And by the way, if you see the web address here, Huawei Enterprise USA, all the promotions that you saw listed here, as well as detailed product information on all the Huawei solutions, recorded histories of our webinars, just all kinds of information is up on the website. If you're a partner, you can go on the website and get access to pricing information, certification, training that you can take online. So there's a vast set of information, and we'd love you to go take a look at the website and see all that there is to offer. If you have things that you don't see on the website that you would like to see up there, please let us know. You can send an email to huaweiinfo@huawei.com, and we'll certainly look at those requests and try to accommodate them as much as we possibly can. We do have a number of questions that came in, so let's go ahead and ask some of those. Rick, this first one I think is for you, and this is just someone that wanted you to review the range of Huawei's eLTE solution, and I know you talked a little bit about depending on where you mount some of the antennas and such, but they're just looking for an overall sense of the range and coverage area, and also what kinds of things will affect that coverage area for Huawei's LTE solution.
I mean, obviously, obstructions and the altitude, but generally speaking, I mean, you're looking at within an urban city environment, you're looking at about, I think, we have like 5 or 6 mile range to get 100 megabit downlink, and but out in the rural areas, we've seen this go substantially more. I think maybe up to like 50-mile range in the more rural areas, based on elevation and other factors.
Okay, great. Another one came in. You mentioned the Huawei EPC framework for converged voice and data, and the question is, can I just get a little bit more information about that EPC framework?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, EPC, or Evolved Packet Core framework, is a standard developed by the 3GPP for LTE communication. Essentially, it's based on the GPRS core network. So for those of you that are more in the Wi-Fi space and have not dived so deep in the telecom space, because I come more from the telecom side. So as an evolution of the GPRS, GSM, CDMA, the EPC core is really that whole line, and it's the core network for LTE. But Huawei, being an industry leader in EPC, we offer a complete solution based on this LTE EPC platform, and it can be built to meet any of your industry standards. And our core network, the ECNS product line, supports the Evolved Packet Core to deliver LTE.
Excellent. Excellent.
So if you need more information beyond that, feel free to reach out to me, and be more than happy to chat with you offline.
Good deal. I think this next one could be for Sajid, because the question is, if I want to work with NetFast, can you talk about your regional coverage area and also any specific verticals that you focus on just to work with NetFast?
Sure. Well, I would say pretty much in terms of the question about verticals, we're in about every vertical that's out there, from state, local, federal, to any vertical in the upper mid-market to enterprise. So whether it's financial, education, so on and so forth, we're there. In terms of our resource availability and our geographical locations, our primary offices are in Dallas, Texas, Oklahoma City. We've got 2 out in California, and of course our headquarters here in New York City. And we've got a couple of remote offices worldwide. But our engineers really have a backpack model. So we've got engineers at pretty much every couple of states located geographically, currently running deployments and projects. So you never know, you might have an engineer pop up in your backyard.
Excellent. Okay, that's good to know. Another question came in, and this question is talking about performance relative to subscribers. So the question is, can you talk more about the performance of the eLTE solution and kind of how it degrades relative to the number of subscribers that are on the network?
Well, I mean, the performance is really going to depend on how you deploy the network. But I mean, with the ECNS 600 and 210 series products, I mean, we can support up to 40 gigabit per second maximum throughput with 200,000 subscribers. So, and then based on how you want to build that out, I mean, that is theoretically the max that we can support with the one core ECNS 600 series.
Okay, excellent. The next question has to do with whether or not it is a requirement for users to use the Huawei handsets that you talked about if they're using the Huawei LTE solution, or if they can use other handsets that they may already own.
Well, our solutions typically we don't require users to have to use a Huawei handset, but again, you are going to be limited based on the frequency bands that you choose. So I mean, if your phones have that frequency, then yes, you can support it. But typically, with our customer engagements right now, they have some very specific requirements, and the handsets are deployed based on their unique requirements and their unique frequencies. So I mean, in that case, it's more of a closed system. But again, as I mentioned, we have a Android device in development. It's basically just like any other Android device that happens to have the frequencies. So I mean, the answer is basically yes or no, depending on how you deploy and which devices.
Okay, sounds good. One of the other questions that came up was, with recent press about Huawei leaving the North American market, what's the future of Huawei eLTE in North America? And I think that's an important question because I think there's a lot of confusion around that. So I'll go ahead and answer that. Basically, Huawei sent out a message about the carrier group not focusing on the U.S. market, but the group that we're talking from today is the Huawei Enterprise Group that has a very wide range of products ranging from networking, storage, video conferencing. We showed a lot of promotions on these various products, so I just want to make sure everyone's extremely clear that Huawei is 100% committed to the U.S. market with the enterprise product line. In fact, just within the last few months, we've attended the Gartner Conference, the Interop Conference, the EDUCAUSE Conference, the Supercomputing Show. So Huawei is making a tremendous investment in the North American market, both from a branding and from a partner development and overall branding effort. So, I know there's sometimes a lot of FUD being spread by competitors and other people, and it does get confusing, but we wanted to make sure that that was completely clear and that there's no confusion about Huawei's commitment to North American market for the enterprise product group. Any other things, Stuart or Rick, that you want to add to that?
No, I think that I think that pretty much covers it. And Nick, thank you.
Okay. Another question that we have is, if I'm using a Huawei eLTE solution, can I run it in parallel with other broadband networks that may be active in a given service area? So I think what they're asking there is if they spin up a Huawei eLTE solution and there happen to be other carriers running broadband networks in the same service area, can it all kind of coexist?
Yeah, that's actually one of the key features of LTE is that it can coexist with other networks in the area because it doesn't have the interference issues that Wi-Fi and WiMAX have, and you just have a lot more frequencies bands to choose from as well. So as I've described in many of our cases, they are deployed in busy urban areas, and we haven't had any interference issues.
Okay. Rick, I've got a few more fairly technical questions here, so I'm not sure that you're going to be able to answer them, but I'm going to go ahead and ask, and if not, we can follow up after the webinar completes. One of them is, how many megahertz and what band do I need to use in order to leverage the Huawei LTE solution?
Anywhere from 5 to 20 megahertz is the band range that you can choose from, and I'll be happy to send that data sheet to whoever's asking, and that has a little bit more detail and at which megahertz, what was the performance and how many subscribers it can support in that range. So, but yeah, 5 to 20 megahertz.
Excellent. The next one is, are the EP units available for shipment in the U.S. currently?
Yes, they are. Everything I've shown you in the slide today, the EP and EH units are available for shipment. I mean, the EP being the most popular. So yeah.
Okay, great. Kind of going down the line here. Can I use the EP units on a carrier?
No, you cannot. And there's not many carriers that would let you use even other carriers' phones out there just because they are locked down.
All right. Hey, these questions are here. I'm going to ask them, so hopefully you're enjoying this. The next one was, you mentioned the work that we're doing with some of the school districts, and the question is, where did the school district get the frequency for the LTE solution, and what band and bandwidth?
That I don't know. I'm not working closely with that solutions team, but I will be happy to look it up and find out.
Yeah, so I would be more than happy to research that for you. I've been working with this is Stuart. I've been working with the sales reps and the partners down in Texas, and so whoever has asked that question, please follow up with me at the Huawei info@huawei.com address, and I will make sure that I get that answer for you.
Yeah, and we know who's asking the questions, and we'll be able to follow up with you guys directly as well. So we'll absolutely do that. And then one other question is Huawei has an M2M device with multi-LTE carriers. Or the question is, does Huawei have an M2M device with multi-LTE carriers for failover in the U.S. market? The carrier is my area. One carrier has better coverage in one area. The other has better coverage in another area. So can we provide that failover capability?
I can't answer off the top of my head. I would have to get that information for you.
Okay, so we'll do some research on it. By the way, I just want to thank all the attendees for the questions. We've done a lot of these webinars over the past year, and I would say we're getting more good, solid questions out of this webinar than any of the ones we've done before. It's just fantastic. So appreciate the engagement both in the polling questions and also in the Q&A here at the end. I believe that brings us to the end. So if we didn't answer your question, we definitely will follow up with you directly. If we didn't get to your question, then we'll also kind of follow up with you. Just one other point of note, Stuart mentioned a promotion that we have going on for the top-of-rack switches through the month of December. There is actually a webinar that's happening 1 week from today on the 11th of December, same time, that will be specifically targeted on the top-of-rack switches. So if you have interest in that topic, be on the lookout for that invite. I think it just went out yesterday. So hopefully you'll be able to attend that, and there is a very aggressive pricing promotion going on for that particular product line. And then I believe we may have one more webinar after that. So be on the lookout for a final webinar. I think we're going to be doing one on WLAN. Is that correct, Stuart?
On the 17th, we will do a WLAN webinar. So please keep your eye out for the invitation to that.
So over at Huawei, we just want to pack as much information in as we can before the Christmas break, and then we'll all take a nice little break, and we'll talk to you guys again in January. But again, on behalf of Sazid, on behalf of Rick and Stuart, thank you again for your attendance. We appreciate it, and we do appreciate all the engagement. We will see you shortly on another Huawei webinar. Thanks to everyone, and have a great day.